We're live. Good evening. Welcome to the Glens Common Council meeting, Tuesday, August 27th at 7:30. Our Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led by Councilwoman Palmer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we'll start out our meeting tonight with public comments. If there's anyone from the public that would like to comment, please come up and state your name clearly and your address. Seeing none, is there anybody from the online, Peter? Okay. Committee reports. Ben, I apologize.
That's all right.
Now we're going to have a presentation from our 5th Ward Warren County Supervisor Ben Driscoll regarding the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, City Council members. Actually, this evening, at the beginning of the meeting, I'll be representing Catholic Charities of Saratoga, Warren, and Washington counties. I've had a position over there for just over 9 years, and my focus of my job is to educate and inform people about federal feeding programs, in particular the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, about 13 years ago, called food stamps. In Warren County, this month, approximately over 4,000, almost 4,200 different households receive SNAP benefits. That represents about 7,000 individuals, or about 11+% of the population of 65,000 or whatever the number is. Most people who receive SNAP benefits have a regular income. That's employment. Sometimes it's more than one job. It's disability benefits or a combination of those two, in addition to regular Social Security numbers, benefits. A large number of the individuals that I serve are seniors, retirees, some of whom are working part-time jobs to help subsidize their Social Security. But they fall below the federal poverty guidelines, and I've given you those numbers. Those numbers change every October 1st. SNAP is a program that is a preventive. It keeps people healthier. Children who have had a balanced diet, nutritional foods, do better in school. Adults do better in the workplace. And senior citizens are more self-sufficient. And again, they stay out of the doctor's offices more frequently, and they stay out of the hospitals more frequently. A number of the people that I serve who are public housing residents, many of the women were stay-at-home moms until they were into their 30s, maybe even 40s. Their Social Security benefit is, in a lot of cases, going to be a lot less than today's women who are out there working and after the birth of a child, maybe back to work in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or a very short time. So again, they're building on that essentially retirement benefits. My job is to go throughout Warren County. I've done similar presentations in most every town in Warren County. I've been to Hague, I've been to Thurman, I've been to some of the larger Warrensburg and Queensbury. But again, it's information sharing, getting the information out to elected officials and community leaders. I work with a lot of area not-for-profits. I work with the local Chamber of Commerce. Anyone who can help me reach out to specific populations. I do a campaign during the year for veterans. The tagline is you served us, let us serve you. A number of the individuals that I serve have various different types of disabilities or have an individual in their household who is disabled. That can be a tremendous strain and time-consuming effort on the part of a working family to provide that type of care and assistance to that individual. So they may not be able to work the 40 hours, maybe they're only able to work 30 hours and still balance their responsibilities at home. To do an application isn't a very difficult process. I assist people. I do some home visits. I prefer to meet people at places like town halls, city hall, maybe even a variety store, convenience store, or a coffee shop. But I will meet them out. I can do a lot of stuff over the phone or email. The documentation that's required, I'm up to the Department of Social Services on a daily basis. And when you receive your card, it's not like the old days where you received what I call monopoly money, colored money. The same thing from the Women, Infant, and Children program. It's a lot easier, and people don't know your business. Again, they receive essentially a debit card. They put a 4-digit PIN number into that, and they can use that at any supermarket, smaller market, any place that food is served. They can also use it at the farmer's market, and there's a double up campaign where it used to be you could purchase $30 and receive $60 worth of food. I was just told, matter of fact, just this past week, that amount is increased to 50. So conceivably, you could use $50 off of your debit card, your SNAP debit card, and receive $50 worth of good, healthy foods from the farmers market, not just here in Glens Falls, but all of the other participating markets. And I think that's up in Warrensburg too, down in Saratoga Springs if anyone visits those. I'm available. I guess the neat thing and benefit of being an elected official is I get to collaborate and partner with other elected officials who are oftentimes the real leaders and the voices in their respective communities to help me get the message out, become my ambassadors, and I appreciate your consideration of that extra job to your other responsibilities. And that's kind of concludes my presentation unless anyone has any questions for me. What I've done is I've given you packets. I will leave some additional income eligibility forms. Those will change on October 1st. And I brought over some tote bags that the city can use for whatever, or individual members can use for whatever purposes that you would like. And if you need more, just give me a holler. Thank you for your time. Yes.
And if I could, and I really want to recognize you for this. When I was with the Housing Authority, you did a wonderful job. You changed a lot of people's lives. I don't think people realize sometimes people that live from one meal to the next, and that may be in the same day. That, in fact, in just reading your stuff, I see that even kids going away to college who may be financially strapped could get some assistance. So good for you for getting this word out and doing all that you do. I think it really helps our community. So thanks.
And if you know any people, young or older, who are looking for a position, we're hiring for a Washington County coordinator who will be based out of our office at 35 Broad Street, but will essentially be doing the same work that I do throughout Washington County. So thank you again, and I will speak.
Well, I just wanted to,
Yeah.
if we were to share this on, like, say, social media, would this be the best thing to share, or do you have?
That would be the best thing to share. Again, that's going to change in about 5 weeks. But yeah, certainly put that out. I think there's the misconception, just very quickly, a single senior over the age of 60, an individual receiving a disability benefit, not someone who is hurting or is disabled, but receiving an actual federal disability benefit, as well as individuals who are paying dependent care costs, child care costs, which, as we all know, is a huge dollar amount for especially a young family's budget. They qualify for the 200% of the federal poverty guidelines, which means that they can earn a lot more than if they were just working and weren't paying those child care expenses. So there's a lot of nuances to it, but it's a pretty simple process. And I tell people, even if you think that you're close to those numbers, let's do the application, less than 10 minutes, give it a shot. And then when the winter comes, and it'll be here before we know it, the Federal Home Energy Assistance Program, actually the guidelines, the income guidelines for that are considerably higher. So we want to make sure that people get the necessary food. They're not food insecure, but they're also not having to choose between paying the National Grid bill and filling a prescription. So, thank you.
Thanks. All right. First item on the agenda is voice vote, resolution to approve. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm out of practice. The mayor needs to go away a little bit so I can work on this. Committee reports. Councilman Donahue.
Okay. City received an update on all the employment stations.
Councilman, could you move your mic a little closer to you? Thank you.
Want me to enunciate that? The city received an update proposal from plug-in stations online for them to take over the city-owned charging stations. We're looking through a few modifications to the station locations and hope to have a finished agreement in September. We're still working on the plans for the CSC community campaigns for EV purchases and clean heating and cooling. We're working with a number of car and HVAC dealers on kickoff events for the campaign. City has qualified for around $75,000 in no match grants for Nice Service Clean Energy Communities campaign. Committee is looking at possible ways to use that money, which might include the purchase of an EV vehicle for a compartment that needs a new car or a light-duty vehicle, electric lawn and garden equipment for DPW, or possibly for the purpose of some of the trees that being planted around the city. Finally, the city is working with state-sponsored firm Green Sheen to hold a paint recycling event for the city. Still looking for details, but right now it looks like the event will be Saturday, October 12th. We have more details in September.
Awesome. Thank you. Councilman Lambert.
No report.
Councilwoman Potter.
The Building and Codes Committee just met before this meeting. We met with a representative from NICOM to ask some questions that we had about looking at the differences between signs and murals and things like that. We did not get to the topic of short-term rentals, which was on our agenda. However, I reported last time that we have booked the community room at Crandall Library for September 25th at 7 p.m. We would like to have a public forum at that time. I drafted a survey, I sent it around, and I heard back from the committee members that they were fine with it. So we're going to be getting that out in the next week, hopefully next week or so. And then our plan is to get feedback from people and then share the results of the survey at that community forum, and also get more feedback at that community forum. We just want to hear from stakeholders, people who live in the community, people who own short-term rentals, people who are involved in real estate, people who live in residential neighborhoods that are affected by them. We want to hear from everybody before we move forward. So that's our next step. And that's it for building and codes. Recreation didn't meet in between, but we did announce yesterday our plans for our dog park, which I reported on last time. So we're excited. The fence is going in today, and that should be opening before too long. That's it.
Great, thank you. Councilman Lapp.
Nothing to report.
Councilwoman Good.
Yes, the special project committee that we met and we continue to work on Highlands Cove. We continue to get input from the community. We are scheduling a community meeting, I guess, get together in September, which we'll get to today, I think it's the 17th. And we're still, like Diana, we want the community's input, for all the people, just not from our ward, but the whole community, not just Glens Falls, the people that come. And there's all kind of ideas, but we'll continue to get the ideas and we'll continue to collect them. And
Thank you. All right, now let's go to voice vote. And our first resolution is resolution to approve, the first and only resolution is resolution to approve the minutes of August 13th, 2024 meeting of the Glens Falls Common Council. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
second.
All in favor? All right. Next are roll call votes. Is there any council members that would like to pull an item from the agenda for discussion for a separate vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Resolution to amend the previous resolution, number 284-2024, 8/13/24. So the Glens Falls Common Council hereby approves and authorizes funds not to exceed $5,500 from ARPA to a to-be determined recreation budgetary expense line for asbestos inspections at the Murray Street Field House. Resolution number 3 is to award the pavement striping bid CGF 24-10 to sole bidder K5 Corporation of Rockland, Massachusetts, in the amount of $28,949.60. Resolution 4 is to increase revenue line A009999-3501 CHIPS by $2,500,000 and increase expense line A45114-4479 CHIPS by $2,500,000. This is to fund our street paving and sidewalk projects throughout the city. Resolution 5 is to approve entering into a lease with Canon Corporation for a TM350 large format scanner to be used by the city's Building and Codes Department. Resolution 6 is to decrease revenue line A23410-1000 personal services by $28,538.77 and to increase budget expense line A23410-2300 motor vehicle equipment by $28,583.77 to pay for necessary tools to outfit our new fire engine. Resolution 7 is to increase expense line A67145-2000 ice rink equipment by $2,704 and decrease expense line A67145-4479 ice rink other contractual services by $2,704 to pay the balance of the invoice for the installation of new cooling tower at the Firewood Ice Rink. Resolution 8 is to increase revenue line A112104479 other contracted services by $1,469.60 and decrease A119909000 contingency by $1,469.60 to pay lease payments for the second floor multifunctional printer. Resolution 9 is to increase revenue line A009999-4089 general government aid ARPA by $76,379 and increase line A44981-4479 other contracted services to contract with Access Technologies Integration to replace the automated parking entry and exit stations at the Park Street parking garage. Resolution 10 is to increase expense line JU 56989-1000 2020-4479, smartphone other contracted services by $6,000 and decrease expense line JD 56989-1000, smartphone personal services by $6,000. Resolution 11, to move $58,570 from unreserved fund balance to increase expense line A67110-445, removal of pruning trees by $58,570 to pay for emergency tree removal and cleanup services caused by summer storms in July, as this was an unforeseen event and was not budgeted for. Resolution 12, authorizing community development manual payments in the amount of $1,474.88 to support costs for a non-for-profit under the CARES Act funding for CDBG reimbursement to the city for a portion of the community development director's salary, and to pay comptroller computer expenses to ensure that the critical financial data is backed up. Resolution 13, resolution also authorizing the creation of capital project for the preparation of the Glens Smart Growth Comprehensive Plan for the New York State Department of State for the total project cost of $175,000, as previously approved by the County Council. Resolution number 284 of July 25, 2023. Resolution 14 is to approve the following encroachment permits: number 42-2024, number 48-2024, number 49-2024, and number 50-2024 for National Grid 636 Quaker Road, Queensbury, New York, to cut old services and install new services to various addresses in the city of Glens Falls, following the city's standard requirements, and are subject to the prevailing wages requirements of Article 8, New York State Labor Law, Section 214F, Roadway Excavation Quality Assurance Act requirements. Resolution 15, to approve encroachment permit number 52-2024. Tom Elliott, owner of tax map number 302.20-7-5, commonly known as 428 Glen Street, Glens Falls, New York, to have IBS septic and drain of 2 Lower Warren Street, Queensbury, are cut into Marion Avenue to access water main to run the new water line at 428 Glen Street, which work was completed prior to the submission of the application from July 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2024. Resolution 16 is to approve a mobile food unit license number 39-2024. Justin Prescott, doing business as Carnivore Brothers Barbecue at 1861 Call Street, Lake Luzerne, New York, to vend at Crandall Park for the Pause for Kate event on September 7, 2024. Our final resolution is Resolution 17 to approve the warrant. Can I have a motion and a second?
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilman Donahue?
Yes.
Councilman Landry?
Yes.
Councilman Bud?
Yes.
Councilwoman Moore? Yes. Councilman Apple?
Yes.
And Councilman Good?
Yes.
Great, thank you very much. Old business. Councilman Dunn, do you have any old business?
No. I'm old, but I'm
Councilman Leander, you're always good for something.
Thank you. I'd like to just kind of give you a little update on the Crockwell Preserve because we're moving along kind of quickly out there. I appreciate the article that the Chronicle wrote about it because now most people in town know where it is. And we hope to be putting a sign up there shortly to bring some more attention to it. So we had a phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessment done that cost us about $8,000. We just got in the proposals to conduct a feasibility study. We got RFQs in. It's estimated that feasibility study is going to cost approximately $70,000. And lastly, once we get the feasibility study started, which hopefully will be done by the middle of September, we'll go out for a request for proposals to clean up the site based on what was in the environmental, phase 1 and 2 of the environmental, up to $20,000. That's all the money that we've got at the moment. We appreciate what the city gave us for ARPA money to work with. We need now to go to the community. We'll be going to apply for some grants to get this project moving along. There appears to be huge public support and offers from assistance. Local unions have stepped forward and said, hey, listen, we got manpower. Do you need some help? That's the kind of stuff that you do need. And this is a great thing. We're going to have another park in the city of Glens Falls that'll mirror Crandall Park and Hadlin's Cove in size and provide a completely different atmosphere than any of our parks have right now. So we're moving along. We know that the ARPA money needs to be at least contracted for, and I think we'll be there.
Great.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Power.
Yes, I wanted to speak to the presentation we heard last week from Jeff, our Economic Development Director, about the DRI. I know that the presentation last week, he mentioned that we could expect a resolution this meeting for the bonding, but I don't see it there, which I'm relieved about. But I really was wrestling with this over the last couple of weeks, and I just wanted to raise a few questions and see if my colleagues also are curious. So, you know, as Jeff acknowledged, he's been getting requests for specific financial information for a long time and really hasn't provided it. I know I have asked a lot. We discussed it at length during our budget meeting in June. So to find out that we are going to be asked to approve a bond measure for almost $4 million, I kind of was taken aback. I really want the project to be successful. I think we all do. But I'm concerned that we don't, as fiduciaries, we don't have vital information to be able to approve a bond measure like that. So I did send Jeff an email early last week anticipating it was going to be on the agenda tonight, just so that I would feel more confident to be able to know how to vote. I asked, I wanted to know, how much will we be asked to approve for bonding specifically? Is it the $3.6 million he mentioned, or will there be more? How much grant money are we waiting for that could reduce the bonding amount? I know there was discussion about various grants we're applying for, but it was kind of like, hopefully we'll get them, but we don't know for sure if we're going to get them. What are the details of the pilot agreements? How much money will they bring in? I wanted to actually see the agreements so I know, what money will come in to offset these costs. What are the bond terms, the interest rate, the type of bond? How does the city plan to budget to repay the bond? And what is the plan for covering the ongoing costs? About a month ago, the mayor presented the plans for the first floor of the Bonaccio building, which would include the Maker's Market, the commercial kitchen, and the wayfinding space. And at that time, I had asked about the ongoing operational costs, so the cost of leasing the space, insuring the space, the equipment upkeep, the utility bills, the general manager, all of that stuff. And the mayor had indicated that the LDC was going to cover those costs. And I hadn't seen any place where that was in the agenda of the LDC where that had been approved, and I don't see that earmarked in their budget. So another question I had for Jeff is, can I please see where in the LDC budget those costs are coming from? And can I see some sort of resolution that approved that? I also want to know what is the plan for the ongoing maintenance of the market building itself. He responded and said, I'll get back to you in a couple of days, and I haven't heard anything. It's been over a week. So it makes me concerned that maybe we don't have these answers. We're about to go into budget season and carefully look at our revenue and our expenses. So I'm glad it wasn't on the agenda tonight. I'm hoping we can postpone any big decision that would put the city into debt for almost $4 million until we have a chance to get those questions answered, and maybe look carefully at our budget and see where are we going to fit those expenses in. Do we need to cut other places? Or this project in general, is it still a good fit as it is, or are there places we need to scale it back? I know we've talked about private investment, private partnership in terms of taking over the space. I don't think the city needs to be in the hospitality business, and I know that that's something that is being talked about, but again, I'd like to see that locked in some sort of agreement or contract. right now I feel like there's a lot of aspirational things, like we might get these grants, we'll find some partnership, but nothing is concrete. So I was really struggling over the last couple weeks. How could I possibly vote to bond for this without that concrete information? And I'm hoping the rest of the council agrees that we want that information. Again, I really want this to go well. The DRI is supposed to be something that puts the city in a better place, and I just don't want it to create liabilities for us that we haven't properly planned and budgeted for. I don't want us to get into a situation like we have at the Civic Center, where we have a building we have to figure out how to unload so it's not, you know, costing the city money. So I don't know if anybody wants to discuss it, but I just wanted to put that out there, that I think we should postpone any decision on bonding until we've had these questions answered and looked at it more carefully.
I got a comment, Dan.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that list that you sent to Jeff.
I would
very
too.
honest with you.
Yeah.
And I think that before we have any resolution put before us, that there's a workshop scheduled to discuss those items that we requested. To me, that would be the proper thing.
Yeah.
If you could share that.
Yeah, I'll share it with you.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah. I was hoping that I would get a response back and then I would be relieved, but since I didn't, I just want the rest of the council to know that I hope we all want those answers before approving that big of a bond.
And that was the thing too, is even 2 weeks ago, we were asking about what the bond market looks like right now, because it doesn't seem like it's a really great time to be going out to be bonding a lot of debt. What's other things that we might have available? Could we scale back on some things? Could we shift some money around in a different way in order to not have to do a great big bond? That's all I have for
Councilman Good. All right, new business, Councilman Dunn. Nothing? Councilman Lee.
Thank you. With school opening up last week, we asked our residents to be cautious when driving around town. We got walking school districts here. There's a lot of construction going on. Sidewalks are still torn up. Streets are still torn up. So please be especially cautious in the areas where the sidewalk and the road work are going, and welcome our kids back to school. Also, with the return to school, I'd ask you to please support the Glens school system backpack program. This program provides meals for eligible children in our school system on weekends and holidays. The list for eligible families continues to grow. They're up around 140 right now that they're taking care of. So if you can support the backpack program, or if you can, please contact me and I'll give you information on how to get in touch with me. Thank you.
Councilman Powell.
The only thing is, I received an email from a woman who said that her grandfather used to own the building at 391 Glens Street, and she sent me a bunch of old historic photos of it, and I asked her, can I share your email with the council? So I think they'd be interested too, and she said yes. So she's really wanting the city to look at architectural review and wanted to provide us with all these documents. So I just wanted to let you know I'm going to share that with you. And I think it was really interesting that she reached out and had all of those photos.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing those.
Yeah.
Councilman Levin.
No.
Councilman Good. All right. And I have either old or new business. So open up for public comments. If there's anyone that wants to say anything, please step up to the mic, state your name and your address.
Having sat in those seats before, I will be as brief as I can, but I will try to
Oh,
share.
you used to sit over there.
Yeah, I know.
Quite a lengthy.
Thank God they finally got a new chair for that
Yeah.
seat. You had to get here about a half hour early just to switch the chairs. Previously I spoke as Ben Driscoll from Catholic Charities. I'll speak now briefly as Ben Driscoll, 5th Ward Supervisor from the City of Glens Falls on the Warren County Board of Supervisors. We just this past week started our budget sessions. It's an opportunity for department directors, their finance people, to meet with our budget officer, our county administrator, and then the chair of different committees. And I chair a few committees, so I've already had 2 days of sessions. A major issue that I'm sure that you've all read about is the proposal to increase sales tax from 7 to 8%. I've been I've lived in this region, this state, and Greater Glens Falls for 39 years. January, and I've always been a proponent of the lower tax. I think it positions us in a more competitive place, and I think that I really honestly believe that each of my 19 colleagues at the county believe the same. Just a quick history, Warren County, Washington County, Saratoga are currently at 7%. Ontario County is at 7.5%. They've already done the paperwork and passed the resolution to move to 8%. Washington County beat us, I guess, to the discussion table and said that they were going to move to 8%, and I think now they're maybe sitting back and seeing what happens in Warren County. If it did increase, it wouldn't take effect until 2026. The Board of Supervisors met for a workshop a week ago. There was pros and cons, a lot of discussion. No vote. I don't expect a vote will take place at least until October. In the meantime, after Labor Day, we'll start to see the scheduling of some community sessions for the public to participate in. And I believe that there'll be at least a couple representing Glens Falls and Queensbury, and probably a couple for the North Country.
Will they be in the evening time?
Yeah, they would be meeting in the evening time, yes, yeah. As you guys do. So, yeah, it would be meeting in the evening time. And I think that the desire is to hear from people. I'll state that that I try not to do my homework, my research on the internet. I think you get a slanted view, usually against it. I think if anyone, I know that the mayor served on the school board, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've always passed the school budget, at least in the almost 30 years that I've lived here. But if you go to a school committee meeting before that budget, usually there's 8, 10, 12 people there, and they're all vehemently opposed to a penny more.
I can remember things being not approved on the school budget, line items.
Line items, yeah, but the entire budget itself. I mean, sometimes.
But when it's broken out like that, you're voting on this piece, like the lights over at the high school.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, and sometimes buses and those types of things. You're absolutely right. But I think that the entire. But my point is that usually you only get dissenters, on that type of an issue. I hope to hear from both parties, both perspectives on that issue. I think that one of the concerns that I have is the potential loss of programs and services. About 90% of the programs up at Warren County, the services that we provide, are mandated services. So if the jail is at 50% capacity, it has to be staffed at 100%. Social services, and most of the services, district attorney's office, they're all based on volume of business. And if things are slow, you don't lay off people. So you have to manage your budget accordingly. I'm concerned about, the loss of services that the people that I work with, the people that I speak with, talk about. Again, I participated in that workshop, and in my profession, I guess I'm trained to be a good listener. I heard what I perceived to be a very close vote. We have 1,002 votes on our weighted vote. You need 502 to pass. I saw it as being a real close vote. In talking to some people, I proposed and got the support of at least 2 other members to also do the number crunching for 7.5%, similar to what they did in the other county. Yeah.
Ben, if I could ask you a question. So the other day, if I read it correctly, it said that only 38% of the sales tax is paid by people outside the county.
Yeah, it's about, just over anywhere from a third to 38, 40%.
Has the county thought about raising occupancy tax? They would put it all on the people from outside here? I just was, to give you an example, I was just in Portland, Maine, stayed in a downtown hotel like the Queensburg, and paid an occupancy tax of 13%.
One of the things that we have done, and we're still, I would say, just a little past the infancy stage, is revenues from Airbnbs and those types of dwellings. Pardon me? Short-term rentals. Yeah, thank you for the legal term. So short-term rentals, and we have a company, and that has increased. There's still those out there. But I just ask and talk to your constituents and invite them. I don't think there's anyone who wants to raise that tax. But some people see a shortfall of 25 million. The numbers that I look at are more in line with 10 to 12. So that was one of the impetuses behind my, looking to maybe meet halfway and go with that way. As I said, there's really no winners or losers in the game. I can go to bed voting for and sleep well voting for a 7%, to keep it at 7%. But if 502 votes vote for 8%, I'm sleeping well, but I'm also paying more in taxes. So, but when those meetings are come, let's mobilize the community and have adult, honest discussions about it, and not gain your information from Facebook and the internet, but from the facts and talking to people and trying to come to a resolution that will at least make people feel comfortable about the decision. Thank you for your time.
Ben,
Yeah.
One other quick question, because we passed a resolution on it tonight. So, is my understanding correct that the county got $11 million from the state to pay for the storm damage that the county had?
I'm not exactly sure of that exact amount.
Yeah.
But
Is that just to reimburse the county for their expenses, or is it to reimburse any community in the county who had expenses? We just tonight passed a resolution for $60,000 of unbudgeted money.
yeah, I would get in touch with the county. I know that the administrator and Kevin Garrity got in touch with a new representative from the governor's office, and they took a tour of some of the spots that were heavily impacted. And I believe that they were down in the city of Queensbury also. I know they were up in Warrensburg and Bolton, but I believe they did a pretty good sweep of the entire county. And The good news is I think that the state recognizes that there were some counties that didn't have a whole lot of impact and damage, but there were some that really got walloped.
Anybody else have anything?
Just,
Supervisor?
I did attend that meeting at the county about
Yeah,
the sales
right.
tax, and I think Glens Falls needs to watch it closely, because if I understood correctly, the money that the county would gain from the increase does not have to be distributed. You could vote to keep it all and retain it in the county budget.
Right.
And Glens Falls has a unique distribution that would really change for us. So our businesses and our residents would be affected by this increase, but we wouldn't necessarily. So
That's absolutely true.
I think we really
Yeah.
need to, hear, as you said, hear from our constituents and be advocates for our community.
I think that the down county vote, including Queensbury, would be in our favor. But again, you don't open the champagne until
Yeah.
it's a done deal.
Did I miss the date? When was the date for the?
They haven't. They're going to. I think maybe right after Labor Day, or maybe just before Labor Day, they'll start scheduling stuff during the month of September.
Supervisor, did they have a time frame on when the board will be voting on this? Is there a time frame on that?
There's no time frame, and again, I think that'll be dictated by the voice of the community. I hope it is. We could vote on it in November. It could get kicked into 2025 if things don't go well. The other important thing to do is the county voting on it is the first step. It's got to go down to Albany for approval, and you don't know how that's going to go. And then ultimately then it's voted into law. But I tell people not to panic, but get involved, get engaged into the conversation, because you don't want to. Basically, you don't want to sit this one out. It's too important. As far as property taxes are concerned, the continuation of quality services in a timely and efficient manner. No one wants to go up to motor vehicles and have to get an appointment for 2 weeks from now. I mean, going to your dentist is one thing. You don't want to have to get a 2-week appointment to go to motor vehicles. I'm just citing that as an example of what could happen in the worst case scenario, similar to what happened during COVID. Just get engaged and talk to folks. Stay off the internet. That's just kind of that's one of the reasons I continue to use a flip phone.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.